Oh, just like that. No countdown. All right, we
No.
right into it.
Oh yeah, you gotta
Word.
make the countdown yourself if you want that
Oh,
to
word.
go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's fire this thing on up. What's up, y'all? ATO here with the Galactic Tribe. This is the Galactic Tribe podcast, talking all things Afrofuturism, all things Wakanda, all things just beautiful and black about our infinite existence. So, Lelouch, how you feeling today, bro?
I'm pretty good, Brody. I mean, this is the first time I've actually gotten to do a podcast live next to the person that I'm podcasting from, even though they can't tell from the.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that
I've done hundreds of episodes of hundreds of podcasts. I've never been actually face to face with someone doing it.
That's literally insane. But I mean, that's the world we live in. I mean, we're talking about the future and what can happen in the future. We in the future. Like, who would have thought? Like, you wouldn't have to be next to somebody recording something and then broadcasting it.
The first time we did an episode for the Galactic Tribe podcast, that was the first time I was doing a podcast with someone in the same state as me.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
That's what's up. Mr. Worldwide over here. Mr. Nationwide, Mr. Worldwide himself, man. So I hope everybody's feeling well. Today on the podcast, we're talking about a bunch of different things. Talking about Hogwarts becoming an HBCU, which is like one of my favorite topics in a long time. Like, there's been a lot of heavy topics and strange things going on. This topic I'm really actually excited about. We're also going to get into Creed 3 and the future of combat sports because I binged all 3 Creed movies in one weekend. I had to see, the face-off between Killmonger and Kang. Like, that was just, I couldn't avoid that connection. So we're talking about that. And then we're going to talk about how Wakanda fits into both. So it's going to be a great episode. So let's get started with the Hogwarts HBCU. But which isn't called Hogwarts. It's called, what is it called? The HAMA, I think is the acronym for it.
HAMU.
HAMU, which is like
HAMU.
Is it like historical, agricultural?
Hogwarts. Go ahead
and look it up. But for those who don't know, Hogwarts, is a school in Harry Potter. They have all the rooms and everything like that. But thanks to the Hogwarts Legacy game that came out, it had a lot of great customization items. I haven't tested it out myself, but from what I saw my friends posting, a lot of people seem to like the customization options. So the locks look cool, the braids, different hairstyles, different lengths for the locks. Like, most games have the afros and the buzz cuts and maybe a fade. I might have seen maybe 1 or 2 fades in the game, but the fades don't always look that great.
Some real just sloppy dreads,
right?
Like occasionally just
tragic.
Outside of 2K, I mean, outside of 2K, they sometimes get their stuff right.
But if we're talking like adventure games, RPG action games, not so much. But yeah, Hogwarts did a really great job, and some people got to really see themselves for once. And not to say that Harry Potter doesn't have any Black characters or ethnic characters, but there's only so many of them, right? But now you got a whole gang, and I don't know why they didn't make Hogwarts multiplayer. Man, that would have been beautiful. That would have been great.
If it was multiplayer, I would be on it currently.
Same,
but it's not. So I'm on
That's fair.
No, I think that it would have been difficult to try to make a game as expansive as the sandbox that they have for Hogwarts into a multiplayer. And maybe if they did something like it was like a drop in, drop out co-op, like, you can hop into somebody's world and play with them like that for a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like Pokemon a little bit. How Scarlet and Violet was.
Like that, actually.
Yeah.
If they had something like that, then I think that could work. But like trying to do like a full on like, Call of Duty multiplayer or like a Destiny multiplayer where you have like, all these shared spaces with each other.
Yeah. That
could get difficult. But I mean, if they were to be able to pull that off, mind blown. Like they would have destroyed the internet. Like, I'd broken it because broken it like means you can fix it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not fixing that.
Yeah, no, not at all. And like, when was the last Harry Potter game to come out? Do you remember? Because I'm not a big fan. I know you're not that great.
Probably one of the movie games.
Wow.
And those never really caught on that heavily. This one is like the first one that's really involved and that has a lot of steam behind it. And even as like for a single player game to have the impact and the following that this does, is an impressive thing. Like only other things that do that are the Sony exclusives, like like the God of Wars, The Last of Us. Like you don't see like regular games besides like, well, no, because Elden Ring is also a multiplayer game too, so you can't even count that one.
Wow.
So like, yeah, single player games like that, you don't see them have this level of draw. But I mean, Hogwarts. I mean, it's such a deep fan base in general, so it's already going to have that. But I feel like they've expanded their fan base to people that weren't even really Harry Potter fans before, but now they have found their way in with Hogwarts. Well, Ham you.
Yeah, and, man. TikTok blew up. Like it just it starts off, most of the videos start off with like the Mo Bamba joint playing, and like there's a party at Slytherin, and like all the houses are there, and they're doing everything from step route, like fraternity and sorority step routines to fighting. And then I'm seeing like people dress up in their robes and like they're shooting with the wands, like the party getting shot up with a wand. Oh man, there's like so many funny things.
When they rolling up with the Vada Kedavra on them, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so I gotta make that into a meme. How you sit when you got the 3 curses on you.
Yeah. Oh man, you got the 3 curses. Oh man. Oh man.
I mean, I just seen all the content that has come from this game. I mean, that is a rare thing to see, to have this many people like collectively all in one game space. I mean, and then TNC saying he got his TikTok jacked and put into a larger TikTok of everybody partying.
It's layered on layer. Like if you're doing something Hogwarts related, it's getting put into someone else's TikTok video, and it's just like, man, it's so crazy to see. Speaking of C Saint, he told me that people were doing actual meetups now too. Like they were, people like they started a bunch of Discords and Facebook groups for like all the houses and everything, and they said, "Yo, let's meet up and do something." And people are like meeting up, that's dope. People, it's I guess like the fanhood was kind of just like the sleeping giant. You know what I mean? Like there's always been Black Harry Potter fans of all generations and ethnicities and age groups and genders and everything. But for them to be so galvanized by this whole movement that they decided to make their own spaces, that's what Blackness does, man. Like we know we have to separate our own space, because we know like we're not always going to be welcome, or if we are welcome, even in that space, there might be somebody who feels that we're unwelcome. So you know what I mean?
Would that be like Afro Phantasm?
Afro fantasy, Afro fantasy, absolutely. I mean, if you throw Afro in front of something like, and usually what happens is it ends up being the originator of that thing anyway. I mean, so Afro Samurai. I mean, like Black Samurai, Yasuke, probably something way before that.
No, we don't claim Yasuke.
Oh, we claim that historical Yasuke, but that anime thing. We don't. So. But yeah, so Black Wizards, Black Wizardry, and like I guess the next step. Well, there's also a lot of controversy around J.K. Rowling. Some people call her racist, some people call her transphobe, and some people, I mean, from what I heard, she's definitely a transphobe, but she's not ashamed about it. The racist thing, people kind of bend it a little bit, so it can go either way. But the ultimate conversation is the Afro fantasy part, us being wizards, us being witches, us having mythical creatures that are indigenous to Africa or any place that's indigenous to where people of a darker complexion are. So it could be natives, could be South Americans, could be Americans, North Americans, South Americans, wherever brown people are, indigenous Australians and everything like that. We have our own myths too. We have our own just worlds that have existed for a long time, but don't get to cross into the space of multi-million-dollar movies or video games for that matter either. You know what I mean? Good example is like oh man, there's so many examples. I'm kind of drawing a blank. So like Blood and Bone, Children of Blood and Bone. I don't know if you're familiar with that story. You read it?
Yeah. Felicia has a couple of the books at our house. I've read the first one after she finished the entire series.
Nice. But I
mean, getting to see something like that, on the big screen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. It's like there's so much going on, especially with there's like a resurgence in Black spirituality too. And just like when we're talking about something, we're not so far removed to it where it's just myth, right? There's a lot of spiritual connections if you're talking about Orishas and everything like that. Like there's an actual deeper thing to that, which is like another example of is that I don't like is when in Black Panther they adapted the just the word Orishas into their mythology, but the Orishas don't operate the same. It's just kind of a name, right? So it was kind of superficial to me, and I didn't really like it because it's like you're calling Bast and this other guy that you took inspiration from Egypt from an Orisha and everything, but you're not really talking about the Orisha. So, but yeah, I think the next level is actually paying tribute to those multitudes of different spiritual systems.
Yeah, so 2027, we're coming out with Griot Studios to put out this into animation.
Yeah, there's actually a not a studio, but there's an entity called Griot Enterprises. That's my man Jiba, who's an excellent artist, excellent storyteller. So no shade to him. But if we come up with the name and we holler at you about it and it's cool, by all means, we can do that.
You know what I'm saying? You can get in on the business too.
Right. It's gonna pull up it. Yeah. So yeah, man. So I think that the next step is all right. So now this before I even move on to the next thing, just kind of talk about this a little bit more. One of the things that was talked about on the other podcast I was on was our ownership of like fanhood, and also if you can separate the fanhood from the originator. How far can you go with that, right? Now that you have Hamu, HAMU, is there a way that y'all can start cultivating stories and cultivating gatherings without crossing the copyright line? You know what I'm saying? Because it's so necessary for us to have our own spaces. Is there a way that we can own our fanhood without, crossing that line? Like I said,
I mean, when it comes to things like that, I mean, as long as you're not charging people to come to a HAMU party, there's no issue with copyright there. I mean, because there's no money being made.
Yeah,
it's just a name essentially on a thing. So
yeah, I think there's some loopholes though. I think that if somebody decided to make like a wand or something, or start to sell wands, or sell like fan art, or just like
and if they
Harry
have
Potter themed drinks
on there and not Hogwarts.
People know what it means, but they don't say that. But people know what it means, so I think
HAMU has literally no direct association to Warner Brothers in the slightest.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I heard people were making like their own joints too. People were making like their own clothing and everything. So, I think some Slytherin hoodies might be coming out. Some Hufflepuff joints. I feel like that might be a little bit of copyright.
So, what house are you?
I don't even know, man. I mean, Ravenclaw sounds the coolest to me.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Word,
okay. I've taken multiple tests. like the alignment of the mentality of Ravenclaw. That's me. Like, they're the intuitive people that like to question things, and they're usually the smarter people around.
Okay,
but Ravenclaw's usually me. Like Slytherin was like a close second. That's because Slytherins I feel like are the real ones. Like, okay, so I'm gonna just
sure.
Harry was supposed to be a Slytherin.
Think so?
Like, if you actually pay attention to his personality from those books, like he's clearly a Slytherin. Like, I think he got put into Gryffindor for plot reasons, but because they also wanted to make sure that they kind of portray the Slytherins as kind of underhanded. But I mean. They're not all bad. Just because Voldemort was a Slytherin doesn't mean all Slytherins are bad.
I feel you. Yeah, I mean, and from what I heard, like there's other houses. I mean, there's other schools within the world of Harry Potter too, right? So, yeah, I think we can make our own and come up with our own houses. You know what I'm saying? And now you got the backwoods. You got the Slytherins instead of the Slytherins. You know what I'm saying? That's a good one. I like that.
The Nuggety Buckle Puffs, I guess, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, yo,
I'm sure those two will always be beefing, like
Yeah. Oh man, no, that's fire. And I'm sure like Harry Potter like even inspired some people to come up with their own wizard stories. Like okay, so an example being Excellence, which I talked about on one of the TikToks that I made, which is by Brandon Thomas. I've showed it to you before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Image Comics, for those who don't know, has a comic called Excellence that came out 2019, I believe, 2018, 2019, which follows the story of a young wizard who is kind of coming into age, and his father is part of this secret wizard organization that protects the world or something like that. But they end up doing some things he doesn't like, and he now has to fight those wizards. So yeah, I think that's like a fantastic story. And I don't know if Brandon Thomas, who's an incredible storyteller, I don't know if he was inspired by Harry Potter or not, but either which way, we can start to cultivate our own stories and even gain more support for other stories that already exist out there. So I think those are some of the greater things about it, about this whole movement. So
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying the impact that Harry Potter has had on the nerd community as a whole, not even just us, but I mean us too, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, even going even to Japan, right? So there's an anime getting ready to come out called Mashle, which is Magic and Muscle.
Oh wow.
That anime is essentially if Rock Lee from Naruto went to Hogwarts. Right? So like he has no magic, but he got hands and feet. You know what I'm saying? Those hands.
So it's almost like Black Clover a little bit too, right?
Yes, almost.
All right.
So he don't even have a sword or a book. He
just got the hands.
He has like chest magic or forearm magic.
All right. Okay.
Like it's literally not magic at all. He's just really strong.
Yeah.
And is capable of fighting these crazy level wizards.
I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that a lot.
It honestly, when an anime comes out in a couple months, it's gonna flood the streets just like One Punch Man did. It's like it's kind of in that same vein, but it's Harry Potter.
Got you. Oh man, that sounds like a really cool idea. And yeah, all these everybody else who's doing this whole Hamu thing, like hopefully y'all pull up to BlurredCon because it's the Black Fae theme. Fairies, wizards.
Hilton, if you are watching this, bro, like just go ahead and just incorporate the wizard into the fairy thing.
Straight up.
Like, it's not a big stretch, bro.
It's not a big stretch at all.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk. But I can definitely see them pulling up and like having their own room, like locking it down. Like, or if they just started to do their own festival where like they got like themed potions and everything like that, drinks, that could be fire. But we'll talk more about that as things develop. I don't think it's going away anytime soon, so we'll keep an eye on it. And anything Afro fantasy, if anybody has anything to suggest to us to read or check out, by all means do that, because we definitely want to check it out as we talk more about Afrofuturism. But speaking of like houses beefing, we saw a beef over the weekend.
Yeah, we did.
And that was between Adonis Creed and I almost called him Dame Dollar. That is not his name.
shout out to Dame Willard.
Yeah, we saw Creed 3 over the weekend, and I was impressed. I mean, I binged all 3 Creed movies this past weekend. Creed 1, 2, and we saw 3 together. And I really like those movies. Like those, I don't really watch too many boxing movies. I don't know what boxing movie I've seen in completion, but I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to overall sports movie, Creed 1 had been my favorite for a long time. Well, pretty much just since it dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, before that was probably like Remember the Titans or something. It fluctuates, but definitively, as soon as Creed came on the scene, I was a huge fan of it. I saw a lot of myself in Michael B's character Adonis. So I mean, it was really relatable. The film quality was there. The writing was there with Ryan Coogler directing it. I mean, and writing it. I mean, it was
the cinematography
all around
was
just
great.
Very well put together project. And Creed 3 was exactly the same thing. I mean, I can't think of too many sports movies or movies in general, like in the last like a few years that I've been this level of anticipation for. Like I was legitimately excited going into this theater, and I was like, man, I've seen a lot of Marvel movies, and I have not been like excited to see one of those.
Yeah.
But I was like gushing, like, yo, we're gonna see this movie. I have
Yeah.
to see it, and it definitely lived up to my expectations. I mean,
Mhm.
getting to see John Majors be him, or that version of him,
Yeah,
was definitely well done.
he's played two antagonists in like a month.
Mm-hmm.
So we really
not even
getting
a full month. It
Yeah.
was February 17th
Yeah, like the
to
third week.
March
It
3rd.
was like the second week. Yeah, man. Like
I feel like that was planned. Like, I mean, yeah.
I ain't mad at it. I'm definitely not mad at it.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
that's two back-to-back stellar performances from John Majors. Because
Mhm.
I mean, he was the only thing that was watchable about King of Mania, and I mean, going into Creed 3. I mean,
yeah, man. It's like, bro, do you realize that we've had two black men connected to Afrofuturism in the same movie? Like that's worth talking about, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, did they plan this? Like, what is going on? Like, they had to, right?
They had to be thinking about it to a degree. Because I mean, if you look at John Major's projects he's had in the last like 2-3 year span,
Mhm.
and you see, what Michael B's trajectory for all the projects he's been a part of, like, I mean, they have to have connected on a nerd level as well as as the obvious.
And you can tell that in the film too,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh man, like I was calling them out, bro. Like the when he got punched. For those who don't know, this won't be a spoiler. When he got punched in the chest and it like went through his back, and you saw his back or something, like, oh, that's anime right there. That's a fighting.
Like, so everything about this movie was actually anime, right?
Yeah.
So like the way that they built the training montage was very anime-esque. Like the way that they built the backstories between the two characters is very anime. Like, this was a nerd movie.
Yeah, bro.
Disguised as a sports movie.
Yes.
Made by nerds.
Right.
So I mean,
right. You know,
this was probably the biggest nerd event of the year so far for me.
I can agree with that.
Because I can agree with that. Like, King of Mania was cool.
You know, and I would say this is the greatest blurred moment of the year so far, probably in the last year. Because I mean, as much as we did enjoy Black Panther 2, we also got a lot of gripes about it. There's more gripes about that than there is about this. So yeah, but it was like blurred without being blurred. I think that was the crazy thing about it, is that it got to appeal to us without appealing to a specific thing. Like it was very well done. Like it was, oh man.
I mean, they took the double punch from DBZ.
DBZ, that one was when I saw that, I was like, yes,
that was a great moment.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the gut punch that Vegeta took from Frieza, that was there. Like, I mean, the ability to build up tension around something is, quote unquote, trivial as a boxing match, right? Like, Quantum Mania literally had the stakes of like a whole universe on the line. I was just like, oh yeah, I guess the hero's gonna win as always, whatever.
Right?
Like, the movie is called Creed 3, so you figure Creed's gonna win this fight, but it never felt like it was just like
he was destined to win. Like he had to be the victor. Like it was
even before the movie, said like, yo, if John Majors win and they do a Creed 4 and reduke it out, I wouldn't be mad,
Yeah, man. And the thing is too, bro, it feels like they both got variants in this world. You know what I'm saying? Like all the movies, like you said, all the movies they've done up to this, they kind of feel like this. These are nerd variants. I mean, these are blurred, variants. So let's go through them. So we got Kang, we got Creed, we got Killmonger. We also got homeboy who was in the Harder They Fall. That's a Creed. That's a Kang variant right there.
The Lovecraft Country.
Can't
forget about that.
Yep.
That's a Kang variant that died.
Well,
spoiler alert.
Right. The Raising Dion.
Yeah, Raising
his
Dion.
son. Yeah, I mean,
hold on.
Oh, you freeze a little bit. You froze up. It's all right. He's still here with us.
You can still hear me. You just can't see my face.
It's all right. We'll work it out. Yeah, bro. I mean, yeah. There's so many joints that they've all been. I'm trying to think of one more for Michael B to kind of tie it up. Oh, say what?
BP2 from the Spirit Realm.
Oh yeah. I was counting Killmonger for both. but
true. Yeah.
I was thinking, I was kind of thinking Fantastic Four because I just recently watched that. But I mean, that's
we
one.
should not count that one at all.
He's like on the bottom tier.
Forget that happened.
Fair enough.
I don't want to I give every actor one bad movie or show to kind of just kind of throw away.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Pedro Pascal, the run he's been on, he's been killing it lately.
Yeah,
we just gonna throw away when Wonder Woman 84. Like we just gonna pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah,
because Last of Us is amazing currently. Mando is oh my god, Mandalorian is crazy right now.
Yeah,
and then I mean when he was in Game of Thrones, I mean that was another excellent done role. So he can't miss. If we throw away that one, we're just not going to count that as a thing that happened. Right. But it wasn't bad because of him. Okay? It was a script.
For sure. And then, but the great thing is they play both heroes and villains, though. That's why the whole variant idea is so fire. Because, when they do the duplicate worlds, usually the opposite world might be a villain. You know what I mean? Like what happened with the Justice League, how they had Injustice. Injustice and the Justice something of anyway.
Crisis on Two Earths where they had that's Ultraman and Owlman.
Man, no, it's a beautiful thing. Man. Oh, wow. Okay, I can't talk about this enough. So the future of combat sports. I don't think boxing's going anywhere. I think it could definitely evolve. There's been a lot of different iterations of boxing changing in the future. Like something is going to be all robots. Some people think there's going to be Megalobots, right? Some people think there's going to be cybernetic enhancements to fighting and combat. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see in our generation.
So I mean, there's two projects that kind of outline what I think it could go. And that's one is Alita Battle Angel, where they, do what you say, get the cybernetic battle enhancements, and they are duking it out in a field that is built to sustain the extra damage they can do because of these enhancements. And then I think it could go towards Ready Player One.
Okay, I didn't get to
which is Steven Spielberg movie where they're going into doing it virtually. And having competitions there. I think those are the two directions that we could probably go. I'm leaning more towards the virtual just because we already have VR and that's improving on a day-to-day basis. People always talk about how they would if Sword Art Online was real, I would get stuck in it. I would probably be like
one of those.
It's you know what? I don't even like all these that much.
Just hook up to the joint and man, and whatever currency you gain in the game to pay your bills or whatnot.
I mean, the company had to be putting up the bill for all those medical bills from those people that's been essentially in the coma for that entire time.
Right? Oh man,
the lawsuits had to be
crazy.
Because not only was it regular people in there, these are children of businessmen and stuff. Rich people not gonna let their kids be in a coma and pay for it themselves. It's not gonna happen.
Now the way these kids extort their parents for money now to buy their credits for Fortnite, Apex, Destiny, Minecraft, they might just be like, Dad, shut up, pay for my my virtual fight. Oh man. But I think the idea, so you did say before we recorded that you think that esports is going to be the next step in that as well. So especially with the virtual reality coming into play and everything like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With the amount of money the gaming industry is making right now, I think it's just only a matter of time before they look for other things, other ways to expand what their money is going to that. And then once they get to essentially going into sports betting, but for virtual events, I think the overall money behind gaming and everything within the gaming scope is going to skyrocket because it's already doing that with regular sports right now. since sports betting is now allowed across all major sports, sports teams have their valuation has gone from hundreds of millions to billions easily, right?
Yeah.
Like before Steph Curry went on his championship run, the Golden State Warriors was worth about $500 million. Now they're worth over $4 billion.
Whoa!
So like that's not a small gap. So I mean, once that gets into the already really booming field of the gaming industry, there's going to be so much money to spend on more innovations, and those more innovations are going to bring even more money. So bottom line, it's gonna be a boom once if that ever happens, and I think it really should. Man,
that's gonna be nuts. I'm low key excited, high key excited, low key worried.
You for sure be high key worried because there is already a business in China called Skynet, right? Like it already exists.
Stop. No, wait. Time out.
Like this is not a joke. I am not making this up.
Why would they do that?
It exists, and they said they wanted to make it to protect people.
I feel like, am I plugged in right now? Am I plugged into the Matrix right now? Like, what the entire hell is going on, man? Like, who's writing this thing?
I will send you the article, Ace. It exists, and it's been up for years. They essentially have connected all the CCTVs within China so you can track people virtually pretty much anywhere within the country.
What?
And the company that made that software is called Skynet.
That's insane.
Not a joke.
Woo, boy, man. So Afrofusion, where do black people fit? Where do black people fit in all of this? Like, what in the world?
With when Skynet goes live, they're having issues tracking, our faces in those things. So we just gonna develop stealth tech to it. So we just gonna be immune to it. That's where I think Afrofuturism goes when Skynet, gets taken over by AIs, and we get Terminator in real life.
Dang. See, my phone just crashed just because of that crazy suggestion. All right, but Black Terminators, right? Hey, Black Terminators could be kind of raw.
So I think actually, that's where it's gonna be because I'm pretty sure John Connor in our version of it, the real life version is gonna be black because we're survivors and we're used to dealing with the worst of the worst.
Right.
So I'm sure the first time machine is gonna be invented by a black man, like a lot of the other real major inventions in world history. Yeah, we're not gonna go there today. And yeah, we're gonna come up with the tech to be able to send people back in time to try to stop Skynet from taking over.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna send them back further than that. I'm pretty sure we're gonna send them back a little further than that. They're gonna go back and fix a few more things that happened before that, which probably won't even lead to Skynet.
Right,
and if it does, it's gonna be Skynet and it's gonna be in the Congo. Right. Oh man.
Yeah,
listen, the idea of a raw, if this isn't a story by now, it has to be sending a black android or black cyborg back in the past to just waste everybody in the year 1600 who was pushing slavery, all the colonizers, sending them right to England, stopping them before they even crossed the water.
The hope, the prosperity, and what was the other one? They had 3 slave ships that they was really pushing at that point.
Oh yeah. Stop, sink the Mayflower before it even. Nah, not even one piece of wood makes it to the Mayflower. It's stopping it way before that.
We're gonna have to have some words for Columbus, bro. They're not gonna be kind
words. I don't know if it's gonna be keywords. It might just be wing back whack. And that's
Wallop.
Wallops. We talk about the Wallops, man. Oh man. Whew. I'm super excited about that. But we can back up just a little bit to talk more about the gaming industry, and what's going on and how it's evolving across the world. So like, what are the major game companies right now that are putting the most into like the virtual atmosphere? Do you know?
Sony's putting a lot of money behind it, and they're honestly just they're putting a lot of money behind expanding the IPs of gaming as a whole.
Okay.
So I mean, eventually we're going to see a game like Destiny on VR.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens,
Oh man,
I mean, yeah, like that's my second life now.
Real quick, do you think that kids are going to start to solve their problems over video games? Maybe they just start fighting in the video games instead of fighting in person? Think that's a possibility?
I mean, if we push that stigma out, so like like instead of like having, because like we're past the point of where we have regular bullies and fights in schools regularly as much as we used to. Like, I mean, they still happen, but nowhere near as much as when we were younger. So I mean, the next step was like, oh yeah, see me on the sticks, bro.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
No, like actually, that's where it's going to evolve into. Kids gonna start yelling, "Fight!" Like, fight! And then he's gonna put the VR headsets on.
Let's do this, and this is like gonna be.
And it's gonna be like a Mega Man battle.
You know what? Maybe they can actually implicate that. If you like, so all right, so let's say that in the school of the future, at the Wakanda Alliance Academy, that whenever students have a conflict, hey, hook up that joint and y'all settle it. It's gonna be like Shaolin Showdown, but virtual. Like,
I honestly feel that would not be bad. Like, I feel like that's the first step towards world peace. Because like, I'm not gonna fight you in person. Like, we can be friends after we murder each other repeatedly virtually. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I'm not hurt. You're not hurt. Your pride might be, but hey.
She's listening to something else. Yeah. And like, what was the other thing I was about to say? The whole thing about I think when it happens, like when kids fight and it's recorded, it feels a lot more personal too, I think, and that the retaliation in that is much more intense. So I think that if it's a bit more digital, maybe it doesn't feel as embarrassing, to get your butt whooped in front of, what I'm saying?
No, because like it might be worse just because like you might plan on streaming just to 5 people and then like 10 million people just tune in to see you get mollywopped.
I feel like also seeing a fist to fist fight would be a little bit more, I'm not gonna say special for lack of a better term, but like it'd be rarer to see that too. So I don't know, man. It's weird to say. Man, the future's wild, yo. The future's real wild. But
yeah, I mean, eventually we're gonna get to the point where fighting games don't have like, you're not pressing buttons for the commands, like you're full on gloves.
Word. Yeah. All right. So if Lelouch was in school, right? Baby Lelouch, if he's in school and he has a disagreement with somebody and they say, hey, yo, Shaolin Showdown, put the virtual headset on. What do you think is going to be your setup? Are you going to do like a shooting game? Are you going to do a fighting game?
For me, it's for sure going to be a shooter.
Okay.
And I'm going to let them pick whatever gun they want, and I'm going to get my bow, and I'm going to destroy them with that bow.
Fair.
Like, for
That's
sure.
Fair. That's fair. That's
fair.
fair.
I'm going to do that. Honestly, someone should really take that idea, specifically what Ace just said, and just like, you know what? Shaolin Showdown, bro. Like, like I don't have no more words for you, bro.
Dude. Just hit the
put up your best little whatever item you got. I'll put up my best item. Whoever win,
That's what it is. Oh man, you can't even steal that. You can't steal that back either.
Right.
You ain't no. But it is gonna suck if like, they're in the VR, then somebody just comes and like duffs them. Just like his man rolls up on him, robs him while he's in the system. You know what I mean? Breaks into his locker.
You're having a virtual fight, and somebody comes up and says like, "Skip the virtual."
Oh man,
like that's the worst snake ever because they're fully focused on the game. They can
they
literally
won't
not see
it
that coming.
Oh my gosh. Again, the future is scary, but that's what we do here at the Galactic Tribe podcast. I mean, if anybody has to talk about the scary things, we gotta talk about the scary things, but also the light things. Again, I think there's some benefits to that whole idea. So
I mean, I really do think that if people got into a space where they are letting out their frustrations that they get throughout life virtually instead of physically, we actually do get to a more peaceful everything. I mean, imagine if we can get to a point where, like, instead of we have like a war, we just have like I don't know, a duel. It's like, all right, Russia, you got your monsters, I got mine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spring my truck car, bro. Like,
bang you to the shadow realm. What you gonna do after that? Yeah, give us all your wheat. Like, come on now, all your resources, all the metals, oil, ours.
I want all those hackers. Bring those to the Pentagon. Yep.
Oh man. So then, like, you have like counter hackers too, to like stop the game from being hacked. Like, there's so much. This mic could have been way turned up. I don't know what that increases the sound. Probably should have tried that earlier, but we here now.
Yeah, this is more so a test stream anyway, so it can be fully ready for the.
This is a darn good test stream. I think we have some great conversation now.
I agree. I thoroughly agree. I think the future is bright when it comes to what can be done with technology, incorporating that into entertainment, and then also just like increasing the ease of life for everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also got to be the responsibility of people that create those things to make sure they're used safely too. Because I mean, everything can go badly. Like, yeah. Of course, we talked. I just mentioned Sword Art Online. It got pretty
gnarly.
It did. Like, even after they got out of the intentionally permanent comas and started playing the game regularly, like there were also still serial killers there. So I mean, yeah, there's going to be things that you're going to have to implement to maintain the safety of the people using the game. But I think there's more positives than negatives.
Word. Yeah, man. Word. There's actually a VR exhibit at the museum.
Yeah, going on right now, Buffalo Museum. I gotta see it.
So I think we should definitely pull up to there and see if we can get some Wakanda kids in there. Look at it, because I think Drea and her family went actually pretty recently, so I think they really enjoyed it. So
and we can do a summer camp field trip to it.
It leaves in June.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we'll have Shuri's Lab going on by then. For those who don't know, Shuri's Lab will be our STEM program for young people. I think we'll also have the Academy up and running then too. Yeah, we will, because that starts in April. So there's a lot of great things that are happening. I'm super excited for this year, fam. There's so many great things going on.
Not to mention the conventions that we got. I mean, BlurredCon is going to be a thing this year. Like, I know we mentioned it in an earlier episode, but I'm really excited for what we can do collectively, because we're going to have so many people there between. So like, there's going to be so many people that we know at BlurredCon.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have everybody all in one place.
Yeah.
And to have a good time. I think it's going to be a great.
Let me do a quick shout out to some of our viewers here. We got Jason in the chat. What up, Jay? Gata Legal, who is a Capadisa friend up in Canada. I don't know if it was Toronto or one of those other places, but shout out to her as well. She's listening in. She said, loving the vision and the dedication. So yeah, we appreciate that. The dedication is definitely there, but we've been doing it, man. We've been doing it up. So man, so many good things. Man, Wakanda Alliance Academy coming 2027. We're gonna be solving our problems in the virtual world. I mean, in the real world too. Well, I think if we started a school, fam, I would love to teach those kids martial arts. Like, just have a martial art, and listen, we're gonna have a ring, and y'all gonna duke this out. Y'all gonna either stick fighting with the helmets or hand to hand, whatever it is, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, capoeira, like any of these things can go. And this is how y'all solve problems.
What we have to do, so we gotta have like the people building the Wakandan tech that we see, in the Black Panther movies, and then we have the people training to use that tech. And then once the inevitable Skynet war happens,
we'll be ready. We'll be ready. Right, yeah. Oh man, we're gonna have our own like robots to test out. I guess
we're gonna build our Terminators to fight their Terminators, and then we're gonna have the weapons for the anti-Terminators. So,
that reminds me of too. Remember Mobile Suit Gundam, G Gundam? You remember how like every nation had their own like themed Gundam? Did they have an African one? I can't remember. It seems to always like leave Africa out. Like even when I was watching Iron Blooded Orphans and they talk about like New Africa or something like that, I'm like, where the Africans at? I was so confused when I saw that. But yeah, no, we're definitely gonna have a Wakanda bot. And you know what? We got to make the bot a panther. Like it's only right. I mean, DQ has been really pushing for a panther thing. I'm about to make that an AI. I'm about to do an AI generated panther Gundam.
Should we? So would that be Voltron essentially? Because all the cats coming together to make a super mech.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. Yeah,
Panther.
Probably Panther. Love it. I dig it. I love it. It's happening. It's happening.
Trademarking that today. Panther. Yep.
Oh man. Wow. All right. So we're gonna have black wizards. We're gonna have a black spirituality division or a black. We're gonna call it something. We're gonna call it some studies. It's anthropological. The House of Bast. House of Bast. Yeah. House of the Spear, House of Spears, it's gonna be like the jocks with the with the fitness and everything like that. What else are we gonna have? We're gonna have an agricultural division, people who are in touch with nature, they're doing yoga in the gardens and everything like that. Then we need one more. What's that last house? So we touched on. We got spirituality, we got the spears, we got the
tech.
And then tech. Okay, boom, there it is. All right, word. So we're gonna have the House of Shuri. Or house of something not trademarked. Shuri's not trademarked.
I don't think Shuri's trademarked.
Copyright character maybe, but not. We'll figure it out. Oh man, yeah, this is looking great. This is looking good. I'm having a lot of fun on this episode, y'all. Like this is our first episode in person. You know what I mean?
It's been a
more to come. Man. Yeah, and we got some announcements. We got VillaCon coming up on the 25th. This episode's live. Gotta switch a little bit, but yeah. So we're gonna be on at VillaCon on the 25th. We'll be streaming that. There's gonna be cosplay. There's gonna be board games. There's gonna be panels talking about Afrofuturism. We're gonna talk about Wakandaverse, which is going to be our own fan-made realm of Wakanda. We're gonna talk about how the buildings are made, how the characters are, how the society is. And that's kind of circling back to what we talked about earlier with the whole Hogwarts universe or Harry Potter universe, whatever y'all want to call it, how the fans are taking in the power into their own hands and creating their own entity and kind of a separate universe for them to exist in, because there's conflicts everywhere else they try to do. So we got to make our own. And it's the same thing with Black Panther. Even though Black Panther Wakanda takes place in Africa, it's still surrounded by a lot of things that people don't agree with. Some people might not say that this is an authentically Black experience when they're watching Wakanda or even reading the books. And so the way we can counteract that is by making our own joint. And some people might laugh at the idea of fan fiction, but there's a lot of power in it. So we're trying to bring that together with the power of Wakandaverse. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be pretty dope. Some special guests. We're going to have Echelon Comics, Echelon Novels. They're going to be in the house. Concrete Comics, talking with them. More than likely, they'll be there. And then my homie Antoine Mitchell, the author of Sankofa's Embrace, he's going to be there as well. So we're going to have some powerhouses in the building. We'd love to get some other people on there. But yeah, stay tuned for that, March 25th. Like, tune into the stream. If you can't be with us in person, tune into the stream. We'll be streaming that as well. And yeah, man. And then it's off to April. April, there's a lot of things too, but we have to get into that just now because it's gonna hurt my brain. I've been doing brain stuff all day, fam. Actually, I can talk about this. There is going to be, still kind of working out the deal, but there's going to be a nature walk or natural retreat that one of our sisters is doing. Her name is Amaya King. She was the former Miss Buffalo, I think, for the year 2022 or 2021, and she's doing a retreat for us. So Galactic Tribe, we could be there to talk about climate justice, because that's going to be in April, which is Climate Justice Awareness Month. So we could do
more
it
out there for that we can.
Yeah. So there's going to be some yoga, there's going to be some martial arts, there's going to be some relaxing, reconnecting to the earth, a lot of shoes coming off and feet touching the earth. Like when's the last time you got to walk on like just bare grass for like more than 5 minutes
intentionally?
Yeah,
never.
I was about to say, what was the unintentional?
I mean, it was a time where my cousin stole my shoes.
Oh, okay.
And like I had to chase him to get them back.
No.
He was fast too. That was a fun experience.
I get you. But it's been a while since you've been able to like plug into nature with your feet, with your toes. All right, word. So that's what the treat's going to be about. So that's going to be in April as well. So there's some great things to look forward to. So yeah, dogs, this is the Galactic Tribe podcast. This is what we do. We're talking Afrofuturism. We talked about the Hogwarts thing. We talked about the wizards. We talked about the Wallops. We talked about the Wakanda. So yeah, man. Anything on the way out?
Do you think that if like Wakanda was a real thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a ghetto side of Wakanda? Like the side like that, like a lot of people just like don't really like
yes,
it's them. Like,
yes. So that's a funny question. So actually in the comics, there is like the Wakanda that isn't part of the Golden City. So some of these people look at the like either they separated or like there was a thing that the Wakandas like kept them out for themselves and had to bridge them out or like put a wall between them. They were like, build that wall. But you know, it's because the other side was kind of tripping on the mainland Wakandas, and they had a problem with that, and they got to nurture the fields. It's a whole thing. So that is a thing. Like T'Challa's dad had an affair with one of them women from one of the countries or from one of those regions. And they bore a son who's part of the Hyena clan, and he tried to get revenge on T'Challa. It was a whole mess, y'all. Like T'Chaka was going through some things. All right, T'Challa's mother had passed away, and you know he was going through some things. It happens. He's a king.
What's the name of that comic? Sins of the Father.
Actually, it might be something close to that. It really might be close to that. If it was not the title of the comic, somebody had said that. So that's one thing, and then also the new character they just show Tosin. He's one of the newest characters. I did the cosplay for BlurredCon. They said, the mainland Wakanda is doing too much with vibranium. Like they're pretty much relying on it. They're relying on this one resource instead of connecting to nature as it should be. And so what they did, well, not even relying on nature, it's like they keep combining it with tech. They keep trying to advance vibranium, advance with the technology and vibranium, where they're more like, let's connect to the earth. They're pretty much hippies. But the cool thing about them is that so they give themselves vibranium tattoos. So the heart-shaped, I want to say it might not be the heart-shaped herb, but vibranium mixed with some mystical juice. They stir it up, they tattoo it on themselves. They practice yoga, they practice Tai Chi, and then some of them develop superpowers. So some of them can run fast, some of them can change the hardness of their skin. Which is what Tosin can do. He has super speed and he has durability.
Oh, gentle.
No. So gentle came before this whole village kind of came into being. Mm-hmm. And I think that he was kind of the inspiration for it too. And they haven't really explained like what the connection between gentle and this other village is yet. But I feel like there could be a connection.
He was the first one I saw that with the hat that was tattooed.
Right. His were more designed to stop him from his mutant ability from killing him. You know what I'm saying? Whereas but he also meditates to kind of keep it in control, right? So I think there's a connection there. But Tosin, he can change the hardness of his skin and then he can run fast. So his powers are a little bit differently. But he's a bit of a hothead. So my personal fan fiction story is that Gentle teaches Tosin kind of to let go of his frustrations with mainland Wakanda and be more in tune with it, with himself. So by the way, yes, this region they don't mess with mainland Wakanda. So yeah, to answer your question,
there is the ghetto side of Wakanda.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure somebody's gonna come up with some more stories for like the ghetto Wakanda. Like, man,
the Hood Wakanda YouTube videos are coming eventually.
I'm down with that. Great question on the way out. So This has been the Galactic Triad Podcast. I'm Ace the Outsider.
And Luge V.
And we will see you soon. Keep it future forward. And as always, Wakanda forever. Y'all be well out there. Peace. I got to end the broadcast this time because I'm in control now.